What if the person you've been waiting for has already discovered the one they've searched for? And that person is you. Let that thought settle in your mind. Somewhere, someone may have spent years chasing a feeling they could never quite put into words. They crossed paths with people who seemed perfect on the outside, who said all the right things and looked like the ideal partner. Yet no matter how promising those connections appeared, something deep inside remained incomplete. Then, one day, almost unexpectedly, they encountered someone whose presence brought calm instead of uncertainty, reassurance instead of confusion, and emotional peace instead of endless turmoil. Without fully realizing it, they had finally found what their heart had been searching for all along. The remarkable part is that true love is not always recognized the moment it arrives. Sometimes the most meaningful connection enters our lives so quietly that its importance only becomes clear with time. But once that awareness awakens, everything begins to shift. Their thoughts naturally return to the same person again and again. Their priorities slowly change. Their heart starts opening in ways it never has before. The bond they once questioned suddenly becomes the one connection they cannot stop thinking about. So if you've ever wondered whether your personal growth, your patience, and your quiet resilience truly make a difference, stay with me until the end. Today, you'll discover why the person meant for you didn't simply find someone they liked. They found the one they never want to let go. Picture meeting someone who appears nearly flawless from the very beginning. They always know the right thing to say. They carry themselves with confidence, and they reveal only the parts of themselves they believe others will admire. This is how countless relationships begin. Many of us present polished versions of ourselves, hoping to gain acceptance before revealing who we truly are. Yet beneath every carefully chosen sentence and every practiced smile exists a deeper identity, one filled with old wounds, private dreams, hidden insecurities, and silent hopes. Lasting love is never built upon the image we create. It begins the moment that image is no longer necessary. The greatest transformation within any meaningful relationship happens when someone finally sees the real you. They witness your strengths and your imperfections, your confidence and your vulnerability. And instead of turning away, they feel even more connected to you. That is the moment attraction grows into something much deeper. Many people spend years believing they must become someone different before they deserve genuine love. They convince themselves that perfection will guarantee acceptance. They hide their sensitivity because they fear looking weak. They hold back their opinions because they fear rejection. They bury painful memories because they believe those experiences make them less worthy. Yet every hidden truth quietly builds distance between two hearts. Even when people stand side by side, invisible walls remain whenever they connect through carefully constructed images instead of their authentic selves. No relationship can reach its fullest potential while both individuals continue protecting masks instead of opening their hearts. The beautiful thing about real connection is that it often appears when we stop trying so hard to control how others see us. The moment you no longer feel compelled to impress, compete, or constantly prove your value, your entire presence changes. Conversations become more genuine because honesty replaces performance. Laughter feels effortless because it comes naturally instead of being forced. Even silence becomes comfortable because there is no longer a need to fill every moment with validation. This quiet authenticity carries a strength that cannot be copied. People naturally recognize when they are in the presence of someone who has nothing to hide. The person destined to love you is not searching for a perfect image. They are searching for someone whose honesty gives them the courage to be honest as well. Your authenticity quietly invites them to remove the emotional armor they have worn for years. The fears they kept hidden, the disappointments they never shared, and the dreams they kept protected so carefully begin to emerge because your presence makes pretending unnecessary. In that environment, trust gradually replaces uncertainty and closeness develops without pressure or force. That is why genuine love often feels calm rather than chaotic. It is not sustained by endless efforts to earn approval or constant performances designed to keep someone interested. Instead, It grows because both people slowly realize they no longer need to protect themselves from being truly known. They understand they can reveal their flaws without expecting abandonment. They can admit their weaknesses without fearing criticism rather than spending their lives trying to become worthy of love. They discover they have been accepted exactly as they are, including the parts they once believed had to remain hidden. That realization transforms not only the relationship itself, but also the way they see themselves. Deep within every human heart live silent desires that are rarely spoken aloud. One of the greatest is the longing to be deeply understood without having to explain every raw emotion. Many people carry silent longings that never appear in ordinary conversation. Some ache for unwavering loyalty after being betrayed. Others dream of peace after enduring years of emotional turmoil. These desires are often hidden behind confident smiles, busy routines, and carefully controlled emotions. A person may seem completely happy on the surface, while secretly wishing that one day someone will truly understand the unspoken language of their heart. And when that longing is finally answered, a quiet transformation begins. Their emotional walls slowly come down. Fear starts losing its power, and love is no longer experienced as a battle to survive, but as a resting place where they can finally breathe and feel at home. Many confuse emotional fulfillment with excitement. They assume that powerful chemistry, non-stop attention, or dramatic emotional highs represent the deepest form of love. Although those experiences can be thrilling, they are often temporary because they depend on changing emotions rather than lasting understanding. True emotional fulfillment is something much quieter. It is the comforting realization that you no longer need to compete for someone's affection or constantly question your importance in their life. It is the security of knowing you are respected, appreciated, and accepted for who you truly are. This type of connection reaches beyond physical attraction because it satisfies emotional needs that may have existed for years without ever being fully acknowledged. Consider how draining it is to constantly wonder whether someone genuinely cares. Doubt consumes the heart. Fear creates invisible distance, and uncertainty makes every interaction feel fragile. But when someone consistently responds with patience, kindness, honesty, and sincere attention, those fears slowly begin to disappear. The heart no longer wastes its energy preparing for rejection or disappointment. Instead, it gradually learns to trust again. That trust becomes the solid foundation upon which lasting affection naturally grows. Love thrives most easily where fear no longer controls the mind. This kind of emotional change rarely happens all at once. A heart that has spent years protecting itself cannot suddenly become fearless because of one meaningful conversation or one beautiful moment. Healing is built through repeated experiences of emotional safety. Every promise that is kept, every honest conversation, and every act of understanding quietly communicates the same reassuring message. You are safe here. Over time, those repeated experiences begin replacing old beliefs formed through rejection, abandonment, or heartbreak. Slowly, what once felt impossible begins to feel completely natural. The person who always expected disappointment starts believing in kindness again. As emotional security deepens, people naturally begin revealing the parts of themselves they once kept hidden. They speak openly about their dreams, admit their fears without embarrassment, and share memories they once believed no one would understand. They stop living in constant self-pity protection because they have found someone who listens without judgment and remains present even during moments of vulnerability. This creates a bond that is incredibly difficult to break because it is built upon genuine understanding instead of temporary excitement or surface-level attraction. When someone finally experiences the emotional connection they have been searching for, love becomes less about proving their worth and more about building a shared life. Their appreciation grows more sincere. Their attention becomes more intentional, and their commitment strengthens because the relationship provides something rare and deeply meaningful. They are no longer chasing unrealistic fantasies or searching endlessly for something missing. Instead, they realized that what they truly desired was never perfection. They were searching for a connection where their heart could finally rest, their thoughts could become peaceful, and their authentic self could exist without fear. Many believe attraction begins with appearance, achievements, or the ability to impress others. While those qualities may capture attention for a short time, they seldom create the kind of connection that lasts. The strongest attraction is born through inner transformation. It begins when a person stops allowing fear to guide their life and starts living according to truth. This quiet change is not always obvious to the eye. Yet, everyone around them can feel it without needing to say much. They carry themselves differently. Their presence becomes more peaceful. Their confidence feels genuine. And their choices reflect an emotional maturity that cannot be faked. True transformation often grows out of life's greatest challenges. Heartbreak, rejection, loneliness, and disappointment can either make someone bitter or help them become wiser. Those who choose growth instead of resentment begin asking themselves deeper questions. Rather than blaming every painful experience on the outside world, they search for the lessons hidden within those difficult moments. Little by little, they release habits that once held them back. They stop seeking constant approval from others. They no longer measure their personal worth by the amount of attention they receive from others. Instead of trying to constantly prove themselves, they dedicate their energy to becoming the most authentic version of who they truly are. As this inner growth continues, a different kind of confidence naturally develops. It is not loud or demanding. It does not seek validation or compete for admiration. It is a calm and steady confidence rooted in genuine self-acceptance. A person who truly recognizes their own value has no need to convince anyone else of it, because their quiet certainty speaks louder than words ever could. They speak with honesty because they are no longer afraid of being misunderstood. They establish healthy boundaries because they value and respect themselves. They willingly leave situations that disturb their inner peace because they understand that protecting their emotional well-being is not selfish. It is essential. This quiet confidence becomes deeply attractive because it is built on stability instead of insecurity. It does not seek constant validation or attention. Instead, it reflects a person who has learned to stand firmly in their own worth, and that inner certainty naturally draws others closer. Emotional maturity is another powerful quality that strengthens meaningful relationships. Rather than reacting impulsively, emotionally mature people choose thoughtful responses guided by patience and understanding. They listen before forming conclusions. They communicate instead of making assumptions. They recognize that every individual carries unseen struggles, and this awareness allows them to respond with greater compassion. Instead of trying to control those they love or relying on constant reassurance to feel secure, they offer affection freely without allowing fear, jealousy, or possessiveness to define the relationship. There is something incredibly reassuring about being in the presence of someone who has taken the time to understand themselves. Their inner peace naturally influences the people around them. Conversations become more genuine because they are rooted in honesty rather than pretense. Disagreements become opportunities for growth instead of battles to prove who is right. Their calm presence encourages others to lower their emotional defenses because authenticity has a remarkable way of inspiring authenticity in return. People often feel emotionally safe around them without even realizing the underlying reason. This is why lasting attraction can never be created by physical appearance alone. Physical beauty may change with time, success may come and go, and life circumstances may constantly shift. But the qualities developed through inner growth only become stronger. A person who has transformed pain into resilience, reflection into wisdom, and hardship into compassion possesses something far more valuable than temporary charm. Their character speaks before they do. Their actions naturally inspire trust, and their quiet strength leaves a lasting impression on everyone fortunate enough to know them. Ultimately, it is this inner transformation that makes someone truly unforgettable. Genuine love is not drawn only to outward appearances. It is attracted to emotional depth, inner peace, sincerity, and authenticity. These are the qualities that continue to grow long after first impressions have faded, creating a connection that becomes stronger with time rather than weaker. Deep within every human being is a simple yet powerful desire to be accepted exactly as they are. Beneath confidence, accomplishments, and carefully maintained appearances lies the hope that someone will see both strengths and imperfections without turning away. This longing is not a weakness. It is one of the most fundamental needs of the human heart. Excitement and passion may ignite the beginning of a relationship, but they are rarely enough to sustain it. What allows love to endure is emotional safety. The comforting knowledge that another person truly sees you, understands your flaws, and still chooses to remain beside you. When someone finally experiences this kind of connection, something meaningful changes within them. Instead of constantly searching for reasons to leave, they begin discovering countless reasons to stay. Their energy shifts from self-protection to genuine openness because they no longer feel they must guard every vulnerable part of themselves. The relationship becomes a place of peace instead of uncertainty. Many relationships struggle because people confuse emotional unpredictability with passion. They mistake constant highs and lows for proof of deep love. In reality, emotional instability often creates anxiety rather than intimacy. A person may become attached to the intensity of the experience. But attachment born from uncertainty is very different from love rooted in trust. The heart eventually grows tired of questioning where it stands. It becomes exhausted from analyzing mixed signals, doubting intentions, and preparing for disappointment. Even the strongest emotions begin to weaken when they are surrounded by confusion and constant fear. By contrast, emotional safety offers a completely different experience. It allows the mind to relax because it no longer feels the need to remain constantly alert. Instead of wondering whether someone's affection is genuine, trust grows through consistent actions. Kindness is no longer occasional. It becomes reliable. Respect is not something that must be earned through perfection, but something given freely. Honest conversations replace assumptions, while patience takes the place of unnecessary conflict. Through these repeated experiences, the heart slowly realizes it no longer needs to hide behind emotional walls. Feeling truly understood is one of the greatest gifts another person can offer. It does not require agreeing on every opinion or sharing every interest. Instead, it comes from being with someone who listens with genuine attention before responding, who seeks understanding instead of criticism, and who values your perspective even when it differs from their own. Being heard without judgment creates a sense of belonging that grand romantic gestures alone can never replace. Often, one sincere moment of understanding carries more emotional significance than countless beautiful words spoken without real presence. Acceptance is equally essential in creating a lasting bond. Every person carries mistakes they regret, imperfections they struggle to accept, and memories they wish they could erase. Many spend years hiding these parts of themselves, believing that revealing them will only lead to rejection. Yet, genuine love begins when those hidden pieces are met not with judgment, but with compassion, understanding, and the reassuring reminder that no one has to be perfect in order to be deeply loved. When someone finally meets a person who accepts their humanity instead of expecting perfection, those hidden fears gradually begin to fade. They no longer feel pressured to wear a mask or constantly prove their worth. Instead, they discover the freedom that comes from being completely seen, fully understood, and still deeply valued. As this emotional security continues to grow, love naturally becomes stronger because it is no longer sustained by excitement alone. It is built upon trust, consistency, compassion, and mutual respect. Both people begin facing life's uncertainties together instead of carrying every burden on their own. They support each other's personal growth rather than fearing change. They choose honesty even when conversations become uncomfortable because they understand that truth strengthens a relationship far more than temporary comfort created by silence. Within this kind of relationship, love no longer depends on dramatic gestures or constant proof. Instead, it quietly reveals itself through everyday moments of understanding, dependable support, and the peaceful certainty that each heart has finally found a place where it can truly belong. Real love is often less dramatic than people expect, yet far more enduring because it is woven into the ordinary moments that slowly build an extraordinary connection. Words possess incredible power. They can encourage, comfort, inspire hope, and express beautiful emotions. Yet, words alone are never enough to sustain lasting love. Anyone can make promises during an emotional moment, speak passionately about the future, or express affection when circumstances feel exciting. Genuine love reveals itself differently. It becomes visible through consistent actions repeated day after day. Someone who truly cares does not depend only on heartfelt conversations to demonstrate their feelings. Instead, their daily choices become the clearest reflection of what lives inside their heart. Their reliability, their steady presence, and the thoughtful ways they show consideration often communicate far more than spoken words ever could. Many people become confused because they give greater importance to emotional declarations than to consistent behavior. They remember touching messages, romantic compliments, and beautiful conversations while overlooking the actions that follow. A person may repeatedly promise lifelong commitment while remaining absent whenever genuine support is needed. Another may rarely express grand romantic speeches, yet continually keeps their promises, shows up during difficult times, and creates a lasting sense of stability. As time passes, actions quietly reveal truths that words alone often hide. Love is measured not by what someone repeatedly promises, but by what they faithfully practice every day. Consistency is one of the strongest signs of sincere affection. Human emotions naturally rise and fall as life changes, but genuine care remains steady through both joyful seasons and difficult ones. A person who truly loves you does not disappear whenever life becomes complicated or inconvenient. They continue making time for you, asking about your well-being, remembering the little things that matter, and showing genuine interest even when their own responsibilities increase. These repeated acts send a powerful message without needing many words. You are important, and you remain a priority over time.